About 2 years ago now, Games Workshop was teasing their line of contrast paints with the vids clipped here, designed to make gray no more and free your models. Of course, once in the hands of miniature painters, we started experimenting. Turns out one thick coat works in some cases, but there are many more ways to use these paints. So whether you're still on the fence about them, or you got the entire collection on day one, stick around to hear my 5 best uses for contrast paints. Hey folks, Corey here with Piston Stone Wargaming. Just a quick note before I get into the details. I like to think of contrast paints as just another tool in my painting arsenal, just like shades or regular layer paints, so you don't have to use them exclusively. Quick tip on this at the end of the video. Now, on to the list. Number 1, bone. This is probably the simplest and most obvious use of contrast paints there is. I mean, seriously, the color is called Skeleton Horde, and it pretty much follows GW's prescribed method. Slap some of this on your mini, let it dry, and then dry brush with an ivory color like Wraith Bone or Screaming Skull, and you've got a very effective bone look. If you have a horde of skeletons or a box of skulls, you'll be able to get them on the tabletop in no time. Number 2, skin. There are 5 colors with flesh in the name offered in the contrast line, including 2 shades of green flesh. And again, basically using these as intended over the area you're painting really establishes the definition sculpted in the model. But don't get stuck on the paint name and think you can't do skin in another color. Cygor Brown is an excellent dark skin tone. Following up with a quick highlight using some layer paints or dry brushing can add just that little bit of extra too. Number 3, color tint. Because these colors have a level of transparency, some more than others, they can be applied as a tint to color what's underneath them. I find this particularly effective over grayscale using some of the more transparent colors, and it works well over skin too. Now it doesn't work as well with the less transparent colors, so you may want to experiment a bit on your own. Or you can go watch the 2 videos where I explored this effect on plasma weapons and power swords. Links in the description. Number 4, gunmetal. Now I know what you're thinking. There aren't any metallics in the contrast paint line, and of course, you'd be right. What I'm referring to is that dark gray or black color usually found on the casing of a gun, not on the business end. Either a couple of coats of Basilicanum Gray or a coat of Black Templar results in a pretty convincing look in my opinion. Black Templar is pretty strong, so I usually paint it over my primer layer, but Basilicanum Gray goes well over silver, so you can paint the entire gun first, then add the gray. Both look especially convincing when followed by a light dry brush of a silver metallic over the entire area to really pop out those details. Before I get to number 5, let me know in the comments down below what you use your contrast paints for. And if you're getting something useful out of this video, please be sure to hit the like button. Number 5, leather. The browns in the contrast paint line are among the best. With some of the other colors being hit or miss, these really provide strong coverage. The range of tones gives you the ability to do all different shades of leather with very little effort. You just have to be a little careful, as this is a detail that's usually not picked out until later in the painting process. So be sure not to apply paint too generously or you might ruin areas you've already finished. My favorite leather tone is wildwood for a general rich brown color. Add a quick dry brush or edge highlight once it's dry and you have an easy but convincing look. So here's my tip. Contrast paints give you the first level of highlight, so depending on what color you use, this may barely be noticeable. Always go back and highlight over your contrast paints. It's absolutely worth a few extra minutes to pick them out. Have a look at the playlist on the screen now if you're interested in more contrast related videos. Now go paint some autos so you can
hear the adulation of your peers.
That is good!
Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.